And next up we've got a little Lego TARDIS that I cobbled together back in the days of Lego Digital Designer, when that was still a thing and usable. It's not the greatest design in the world, but you know, it got the feeling across. Kind of more of a, because it's obviously the royal blue Lego, it's got more of a classic vibe to it than a new series one. But I just cobbled together a little Lego David Tennant using some spare parts and an old cape, and a little tiny Matt Smith who's holding a screwdriver in front of his face, and a little tiny Matt Smith. Now he's obviously holding the actual screwdriver. That one, I think, the Lego Dimensions Doctor Who set, the full one, I think he came with 2 screwdrivers, so I think that's where he got his from. I did get the, again, I think they were character options. Their take on Lego. I got the TARDIS with Matt Smith and Amy Pond, but let's just face it, it just wasn't that good. Anyway, stick around. Maybe there'll be an actual, legitimate Lego Doctor Who set coming your way. You never know. Especially since it's right over there. And as previously mentioned, as previously mentioned in, I think, my intro video, we've got low battery power. Isn't that awesome? And of course, the holder for the iPad that I made doesn't have a slot for the power cord. So here I go cutting a hole in it. There. That'll do. Anyway, where was I? This is the Tom Baker 4th Doctor styled sonic screwdriver that I made. Basically out of bits and bobs of whatever I could find laying around the shop that I had at the time. Somewhat dimensionally proportionate. Basically, it is made out of a cheap flashlight, some plumbing parts, and, oh yes, a shower curtain rod. That's right, yes. So, it does the whole spring-loaded, depending on the angle you're holding it at. You pull it down. Now I think this either stretched out or it stayed down with this part, which I wasn't able to do on the Flash, but that's alright. It's, again, actually, you know what that is? That is a rubber stabilizer from a CD-ROM drive, I think. This will spin either direction semi-freely, but that's just because that is a old sink aerator. One of the security ones that you put on a sink so you stop people from using, dishwashers and stuff in apartments. Guess what my line of work was? That was just a faulty aerator that I press fit onto. This is a flashlight body. That was the top of it. It's now upside down. So here's the shower curtain rod. Press fit. It's got a little bit of a bevel on it. Oh well. But press fit in that is a sink stem, or your hot or cold valve. Again, guess what my line of work was? With the top of it just chopped off, and into the bottom of that, this post here is a shower diverter, an old style pull-out, push-in shower diverter. It's just screwed into the bottom of the stem because it uses the same threading. With I think it's the same spring on it too. The diverter spring itself is what actually gives it the spring-loaded action. That's just a piece of one of the rubber stoppers from probably one of the sink stems. Along with that, it's just shoved up on there against the CD-ROM stabilizer. This is just another piece of shower curtain rod that I cut and trimmed, and then I tapped into the side. You can barely even see it after I painted it, but I tapped into the side for the 3 posts. They're just machine screws, I think. That I cut the tops off and then sanded down smooth. And they're just gripping with pressure. I don't think they're threaded into. Maybe they are. I don't remember. This is just a piece of copper pipe that was painted black and then silver on the back. This, I don't remember what it was. It was some sort of weird plastic spool type thing that I just shoved in the back to A, fill in the hole, and B, the screen one does have a cut in it, sort of like a big screw, if I do believe, on an angle. It sort of gives it that effect while filling in the hole. And then the top here was, I think I just made that out of a piece of plastic or something. I don't remember. Anyway, I think I just sanded it down and shoved it into the copper pipe. Let me see if I can unscrew it. Easy does it. There we go. Yep, it's the original spring. Original components inside too. There we are. So that was that the back of the screw, or sorry, the flashlight? I don't remember how the flashlight came about. But yeah, inside, I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but that's the stem, the bottom of the stem there. You can see right through it. That's where the rubber would have gone if it wasn't shoved into a piece of shower curtain rod. But it's got the same threading because it's the same manufacturer as the shower diverter. So it just threaded right in there. And boom, there's your shaft. Let me put this all back together. I think you went, yeah, you went in there. You come up through. This is awkward because I'm trying to stand behind the camera and do this while holding it out at an awkward angle and not elbow the camera while I'm doing it. And just thread you back on until you're suitably tight. There. So it was all just spray painted silver. There's a little bit of a gap on the bottom there, but I mean, you're holding it like this anyway, so you're never gonna notice it. Yeah, spray painted because this is brass piece. It's just spray painted silver. I left the top that would actually screw in or out to open or close the valve. I left it just plain brass just to give it a little bit of difference, I guess. Yeah, there you go. That was cobbled together the night before a Halloween party that I went to because it matches something else that I'm about to show you. So yeah, a couple hours and basically whatever I could find. And if I recall correctly, when you put it up against the blueprints of the original, it's pretty much spot on. So there you go. And as for that thing that I just mentioned, this is sort of the sort of my pride and joy of my full-on Doctor Who collection, as it is. That is a very, very, very long scarf. So I did not myself make this. However, I did purchase all of the material for it. This is not cheap Walmart yarn. This is high quality yarn. I actually went to a store, it was local at the time, but a store in Ottawa, and talked to one of the people there he's worked at that store forever, and he knew what he was talking about when it came to yarn. I know you're gonna kind of giggle at that, but you know, hey, when you want to make an accurate and long-lasting, lifetime-lasting prop, you know, you're gonna go all out, I guess. So he knew exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned a Doctor Who scarf, but he had never seen anyone actually make it, so he was actually kind of excited. We sat down and we did our best to color match all the colors. Somebody had the pattern, so we had the pattern, we had the basic lengths of what we would need, and we color matched as best we could using the same brand of yarn, so there was no you know, obvious differences between the colors. So this was actually made, again, you might giggle to yourself, but this was made by my mother. I supplied all of the yarn, and she spent months and months making this as, I think it was a birthday present, or was it a Christmas present? I had jokingly said one day, yeah, she asked me what I wanted for whichever one it was, and I said, well, I would take a Fourth Doctor's scarf. And she said, if you buy the yarn, I'll make it. So I bought the yarn. So it's funny story. While it was being made, knitted, it was about halfway done. And for whatever reason, following the proper pattern and the proper stitching or needle work or whatever you call it, I'm not an expert on that. But following all the right directions, the right width and all that stuff, and it was the proper thickness of yarn too. For some reason, it was going to end up being too short. We couldn't figure out why, but it was going to be too short. So we calculated, however, it was like 3, because it's supposed to be 20 feet, right? And I think it was going to be like 3 or 4 feet short. Now, I am not a tall guy whatsoever. I am certainly not the height that Tom Baker reached. By far, I'm probably about half his size. I'm pretty short. So if I was smart, I probably would have said stick with it. But I wanted accuracy in the length as opposed to the final pattern. So we calculated it out and we decided that, okay, we would double up the pattern at this spot, at this particular interval, and that would give us the extra length to make it the accurate 20 feet. And then it turned around, and not only was it longer than 20 feet, it was 5 feet longer than 20 feet. So this is a 25-foot long scarf. I have an old video of it when I first got it. I'll see if I can find it. So not only is it a ridiculously long scarf, but it is a ridiculously long scarf. And it looks absolute rubbish on me because I am just way too short to wear it in the first place. In cases of emergencies, you could use it as a blanket. Anyway, I'm not going to roll it out for you right now because if I found the video of it, you've seen how... Oh, good. There we go, lighting fail number 1. You've already seen how friggin' long it is, and if I haven't, you can get the idea from, well, just me saying that it's 25 feet long. And I'm not joking, I actually measured it. So that is my assortment of Doctor Who related prop / model / other junk that I've made. And every time I do something like this, it really puts me in the mood to make more. So I've got another video planned for you. It's basically a conglomeration of some behind-the-scenes footage, I guess you could say, from when I was working on Fallout New Vegas with the guys. A lot of the just the test footage that I had filmed to send to them to show them progress on whatever model I was making. So I've got like an hour and a half worth of test footage. I thought I would barely cross the 10-minute mark, but then I put it all together and it was like an hour and 28 minutes. So I'm probably going to chop that way down and probably split it into 2 parts. And then I'm just going to do a live commentary over it, I guess. Just telling you what I was working on, how I was doing it. Hope you enjoyed. And I hope at the very least, if you're into this sort of stuff, it's inspired you to do your own stuff. Because it's really quite simple. Really simple.